43rd lesson of the series and 13th lesson on the addition script. We are learning JavaScript and we are learning JavaScript by examples. In this series, we are trying to recreate this application, which is available on this website here, and I will include the link below. And this is what we have done so far. So functionality wise, our application is almost complete. It is similar to this application in that when you type in an answer, you get a response as a tick or a cross, and you are also seeing total number of questions, which is still not available on our application. So this progress bar, we did a series on this, and we have created this progress bar in one of our last projects. So I'm not going to waste your time on it. However, I am going to show you how to display the results on top of this page. So the video will make sense if you watch all the videos in this series. There's 13 of them total, and I will resize the browser. I'll change the size of my browser, and this is the text editor that I have been using, Sublime Text Editor. You can use any text editor that you want, and this is our CSS, HTML, and JavaScript that we have written so far. So in the last lesson, that was about the next element sibling, we created these boxes just to explain the concept of next element sibling. And so I would want to remove these boxes, and this is the line that I want to remove, and this is the line that I want to remove. So if I save it now, change the size of the browser, refresh the application looks much similar to what we have here. So we want to show the results on top of this page. Okay, so the first thing that I will do, I will create a div just above the main container, and I will type div and press tab twice, and I have created a div. I will give it an ID of, say for example, progress. So we have created a div which is an empty, at the moment is an empty placeholder. The inner HTML of this div is empty. So if I save it and refresh it, you should not see anything. Okay, however, if I say 1 out of 50, I will say your score is 1 out of 50. So if I save it and refresh it, you can see that the inner HTML of this div is visible here. Your score is 1 out of 50. We do want to provide some style to it, and we will do that with the help of ID of this element. Okay, so and the way you do it, you type in a hash symbol. The ID of the element is progress, so I will copy it and I will paste it here, and an opening curly bracket and a closing curly bracket, and I will simply say text align center, save it, refresh it. The text is visible in the middle of the page horizontally. I also want to provide some padding top 20 pixels, which should bring this text a bit down. So if I save it and refresh it, you have this text visible a bit down. There's a gap of 20 pixels from the top of the page. The next thing, I want to give it a font size of maybe 22 pixels, which should be, let's see how it is, which is just perfect. Okay, so the reason I'm saying your score is 1 out of 50 because one question has already been attempted by the application, and the answer is always correct to this because it is automatically calculated. But for the rest of the questions, we want to change this score dynamically with the help of JavaScript. So we will create another variable, and I will call it score, and the initial value of score is already 1. Okay, so one question has already been attempted. So we have created this variable, and we want to increase the value of this variable. We want to increase the score as soon as we provide a correct answer, and this is what we are doing when we provide a correct answer. So if the answer that has been provided is correct, we want the value of this score to go up by 1. Okay, and this is how you do that. So score plus plus will increment the value by 1 every time this loop runs, and we have discussed that before several times. Now the only thing that we have to do is to display this score and change this inner HTML. Okay, so we'll change the inner HTML of this element when the score goes up. So we'll use the ID of this element one more time, and the selector for ID is, I will disable, I will comment this out because we don't need this anymore, and I will say document dot get element by ID brackets, and the ID of this element is progress. Copy this and paste this here. Okay, and I will say inner HTML is equal to, and I can show any message now. So I am going to use template literal here so we can show the value of the variable. Template literals are created with the help of backticks. Okay, so this is a key on your keyboard just above the tab key and right on the left side of the number 1 key. So this looks very similar to the single quotation, but it is a totally different character which you can type with the help of the key that is just above the tab key on the left side of the number 1 key. I can simply copy this and then paste it here within these backticks, and instead of using this hard-coded number, I can use a dollar symbol and I can say score, which is the value that will change dynamically with as soon as you type a correct answer, the score will increase. Okay, so if I save it now and refresh it, I'll change the size of the browser, and as soon as I type in the correct answer, the value of this score should go up. Okay, so let me give some space to make it a bit more clear. Save it one more time and refresh this, type in the correct answer, the value goes up by 1, and if I type in a correct answer one more time, the value goes up one more time. But if I type in a wrong answer, okay, this value does not go up. If I type in a wrong answer one more time, the value does not go up. Okay, and we can make it a bit more clear to the users. So what I am going to do, I'm going to create another variable just after this event listener, and I will say let, and I will create another variable called attempted, which should be equal to result dot, and we'll use the tab index value to see how many questions have been attempted, and it will make sense in a minute. So I will use the tab index value of the input field, and if you remember, the tab index value of this input element is 0 and this input element is 1, because our cursor is in this field, not in this field. The tab index value of this input field is already 1, so I have to add 1 to it. So this will save the number of the questions that we have attempted, versus this variable is, say, the score variable is saving only the number of correct answers. So what we can do here, instead of saying I will probably have to make it a bit bigger so you can see it clearly, and we can also say And instead of saying score, I will say attempted, which is the name of the variable. And instead of using this hard coded number, I can also use this variable called I. Okay, so if in future we change the number of questions, this is the variable that I'm using down there, and if this number of questions changes, we don't have to manually come back and change it. Okay, so you have attempted so many questions out of 50 or whatever the value of this variable is, and then questions, and your score is dollar symbol one more time, opening and closing curly bracket, and the variable called score, which we created a minute ago out of a dollar symbol one more time and variable I, and then a full stop. So if I save it one more time, change the size of the editor, and let's make it a bit bigger, refresh it. Obviously I've made some mistake here. Line number 152. Okay, I forgot the bracket. Closing bracket, save it, refresh it, maximize it. If I type in a correct answer, you have attempted 2 out of 50 questions, your score is 2 out of 50. And if I type in a correct answer one more time, the value increases once again. But if I type in a wrong answer, the attempted question, the number of attempted question has gone to 4, but your score is 3 out of 50. Okay, so if I type in a wrong answer one more time, the number of attempted question has gone up to 5, and the score is 3 out of 5. Okay, but if I type in a correct answer, you can see that my score has gone up by 1. So the script is working perfectly fine. Now we will finish this project because we have achieved all the functionality that we needed. We are showing the results as well. The difference is this modal, which we will learn about in a totally separate series. I'll create a series on how to create a model, and then this progress bar we have already created in one of the previous projects, so I don't want to waste your time. We will create and start a new project, a very exciting project, from next week. I hope you learned something. Thank you very much.